Happy Juneteenth, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have received a flag and we can wave it with joy and unity in our hearts. Today is a beautiful day to be raising the Juneteenth flag. It brings so much hope to our Black community here in Beverly, so thank you for making the time to be here. I would like to proceed with the program and welcome our Human Rights Committee member, Carol Rain.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. So I'm going to read the land acknowledgement statement. This meeting takes place on the unceded ancestral lands of the Nomkag and Pawtucket bands of the Massachusetts tribe, from whom the Commonwealth of Massachusetts took its name. With deep respect and gratitude, we thank the indigenous caretakers of these lands and waters who have lived here for thousands of years. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol, for all that you do. And next, we'll have Elodie join us.
Yep. I'm going to be reading the contributions of the Black diaspora and the labor acknowledgements. I recognize and acknowledge that the very foundation of the United States of America was built on the free and forced labor of Black people of the African diaspora and Black people indigenous to this land. This foundation has generational and exponential effects that continue to negatively impact Black communities today and are uncompensated. This historical and contemporary contribution of the Black diaspora continue to shape American culture and benefit all the inhabitants of this land. This statement acknowledges specific histories. I encourage you to think about what this means and what this looks like.
Thank you, Elodie. And next, we'd like to welcome Mayor Cahill to recognize the event and our guests.
Thank you, Wangari. She gave me 11 minutes in the program. A little bit scary. Thanks so much for being here. Let me quickly acknowledge my fellow elected officials, City Council President Julie Flowers. Thanks for being here, Julie. Ward 2 City Councilor Danielle Spang. Ward 2 School Committee Woman Member Dr. Kenanne Mackenzie DeFranza. Ward 6 School Committee Member Lorinda Visnick. Ward 1 School Committee and School Committee President, Rachel Abel. I'm scanning, I'm gonna go back. And I gotta give her a chance to get here. and just fresh from work, City Councilor at Large, Hannah Bowen. Thanks, Hannah. So thank you for coming together today. Couple quick comments from me. Slavery is the great shame and really the worst reality of American history. Awful that there had to be a Juneteenth, amazing and wonderful and thankful that there eventually was a Juneteenth and is a Juneteenth. And I'm grateful that our governments have recognized that Juneteenth is a day to be set aside and remembered and marked and really celebrated. So that's all the good. And so the best part of standing here looking at this amazing group is you folks are really the representative of all the great leadership in our community. So thank you for everything you do every day of the year to make sure that all people's rights are held up and right in front of us and something that we all remember that's our responsibility as members of the community. After this program, we're going to raise the Juneteenth flag, and I just want, just a detail, because it's June, the Juneteenth flag will be sharing the pole with the Pride flag, which went up on June 1st. Each of the flags will get a full month on that pole, so they'll share space for a little bit, and then the Juneteenth flag will have its time right through to the middle of July. And we're excited to do that. And then, I don't know if you noticed, but the rest of the year, when we aren't displaying a specific flag, we have a flag called the Hate Has No Home Here flag, which is all-encompassing for all the great work that needs to be done every day of the year and that I'm really grateful that we get to do together. So who is next on the agenda? Did I miss anything? We should probably also thank Bruce Doigan, the team from Recreation, because the sound system for all the events we do, it ends up on them, whether it's during work hours or outside of work hours, weekday or weekend, and they're really great about that. So I'm going to call up Dr. Morgan. Is that Dr. Andre Morgan from our school department? And he's got some really special guests to bring up with him, too. Thanks, Andre.
Thank you, Mayor Cahill, and good evening, or afternoon, rather, to each of you. So I'm certainly excited today, along with my colleagues and families and other stakeholders from Beverly Public Schools, to be here to share in the flag raising of our Juneteenth celebration. Juneteenth commemorates the day when enslaved black people in Texas were finally informed that President Abraham Lincoln had declared their freedom in the states that withdrew from the Union. After the 13th Amendment became the law of the land, enslavement merely shifted into other forms of servitude and oppression, such as sharecropping and later a brutal system of Jim Crow. I, like many other people of color, think of Juneteenth as a time to think more deeply about how we have defined independence in this country. As a community, we can reflect on our shared history and also our present of racism and oppression, as well as celebrate the contributions of people of color to this country. As we celebrate, can we consider what actual freedom and justice for all people should look like? And can we each, in this moment and during this time, commit, at least this year, to one thing that we can do to promote equity in the spaces around us? I'm pleased to introduce three of our phenomenal students who are going to share what Juneteenth means to them and the reason why our community should be celebrating. And so first, I'm going to introduce two phenomenal middle school students, both of which are 7th graders, rising 8th graders. Our first student is Delphine Qua, and Delphine will be followed by Jamien Soto Vargas. And then we're going to hear from Ellery LaPointe, who is a 2024 Beverly High School graduate. In that order.
Hello everyone, my name is Delphine Qua and I'm in 7th grade at Beverly Middle School. Today at this Juneteenth flag raising, I would like to share an experience I had over February break. I went to Ghana to visit my grandmother and my extended family. My sister and I had so much fun playing with our cousins, swimming, and learning about Ghana's first president, Kwame Nkrumah, who led the fight for independence across Africa. I also visited my uncle Kwesi, who is a retired history teacher. Together, we visited Elmina and Cape Coast castles. It was here that I learned more about slavery before the enslaved people were forced to the Americas. I've read about slavery in school many times before, but it was different to actually walk along the floor and touch the bars of the cells where people were separated from their families. It opened up my mind, making me realize that this wasn't that long ago, and that the impact of these inhuman actions are still felt in America. This history connects us all from continent to continent, which means it is all of our responsibilities to remember, repair, and prevent this from happening again. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jamien Soto Vargas, and I'm a 7th grade student at Beverly Middle School. For more than 1.5 centuries, Juneteenth has been celebrated by many communities of color. It marks a day in 1865 when enslaved people in Galveston, Texas found out they had been freed. After the end of the Civil War, 2 years after President Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation. The enslaved people of Texas claimed the freedom that was theirs by birth and by right. Since it was designated a federal holiday in 2021, Juneteenth has become more universally recognized in communities across the nation. As we celebrate, we also remember that it would be 6 more months before the 13th Amendment was ratified and all enslaved people in America were declared free. America is a promise of freedom, liberty, and justice. The story of Juneteenth, as we celebrate it, is the story of our ongoing fight to realize that promise, not for some, but for everyone. And Juneteenth does not mean the same thing to each person. To one, it may be a day of reflection. To another, it is a day of celebration with cultural meals and activities. To me, Juneteenth is about recognizing that a group of people discovered that they were free and no longer enslaved. It is a time to look back and understand the mistakes we have made as a nation, enslaving people and figuring out how all of us can work together in order to move forward together. As we gather here, let us remember the words of Coretta Scott King. She said, "The fight for civil rights must be fought and won with each generation." She reminds us that our freedom will not be permanent unless we in each generation protect them. For every person who celebrates Juneteenth, it's an opportunity to have a voice and use that voice to participate, to speak out against injustices and the things that just aren't right in our society. Beverly is a community of many races, and if we are going to respect each person in this community, we must stand together as Americans to teach and honor our history, to protect our liberty, and to continue the fight for our freedom. And here's a fun fact. My birthday just so happens to fall on Juneteenth, so that's another reason for me to celebrate. Thank you. And one more thing before I go. In closing, you know how at Christmas people will say Merry Christmas to each other and not even know the other person? You can get a Merry Christmas from almost everybody, and when we hear it, we smile. Juneteenth is the same way. If you say Happy Juneteenth to someone else, no matter what race you are, you will absolutely get a smile. So can you look at the person standing next to you and say Happy Juneteenth? Now tell the person standing on the other side, Happy Juneteenth. Thank you.
A second. One moment. Okay. Can everyone hear me? Okay, good. What Juneteenth means to me is having hands that are mine and mine alone. It means my choices belong to me, and those choices may remain dormant or as alive as they want to within my mind. Juneteenth to me means looking at myself in the mirror and seeing triumphs, just as I see in the eyes of my brothers and my sisters, my fathers and my mothers. Juneteenth to me means holding my own hand and healing those who come after me. Juneteenth is a testament to all that belongs to us and will forever be made just for us. Juneteenth is transformation. This is not about pity and it's not about belittlement. This is a celebration of all of the things that are ours and ours alone. To those who fight and fought without knowing the end, today is for you, and thank you for giving it to me. That is Juneteenth. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And next, we'll welcome Dr. Kanan McKenzie for some words.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you again for another year. I really appreciate all of you coming here. I know that each month we seem to add another event or memorial activity or holiday. And sometimes we are presented with the challenge of trying to explain to others maybe what this is all about and what the objective is in terms of us having these celebrations and moments to honor our history. We're living in a time where we've certainly learned, particularly in recent years, how important accurate and inclusive history is. And so I want to lift up this community for being a part of that work. I'm here to represent the North Shore NAACP. I see many of our members here, and we are a 4-year-old branch of an organization that's over 100 years old. But we are here in Beverly, we've been welcomed, and we have north of 200 members already on the North Shore in the last several years. So for that, I want to thank you all and give yourselves a round of applause for that, because half of you in here are members. And so sometimes we have the impression that little progress has been made, but I'm here to say there is much progress that has been made, so feel encouraged by that. However, we understand that a part of having reparative conversations and restorative justice is knowing what it is we are trying to restore. What is that beloved community that we are trying to create? So when we say one nation with liberty and justice for all, we understand that when those words were coined, it did not necessarily include everyone. It did not include women. It did not include those who did not own land. It certainly did not include our indigenous ancestors and those who are currently here. And often we speak about our indigenous communities as though they're no longer here. They are here, though not thriving the way they should. And so they are in these conversations as well around restoration and reparation. So this is the importance of that accurate history. I want to shout out Harbor Light Community Partners, now Harbor Light Homes, and my husband over there, Andrew DeFranza, because we were able to collaborate on a cool project recently. And I bring it up because I'm asked about this project often and about the rationale behind this project. So we collaborated to be able to unearth and highlight deeds that had racial covenant language in it on only a portion of the North Shore in Essex County, so a very limited area. And we had almost 500 deeds that currently say you may not sell or rent this property to a person of color, and then persons of color might have been delineated even further to specifically say Armenians, Jewish people, Black people, Greek people, and over time it eventually morphed its way down to maybe only referencing people of African ancestry. Sometimes with the exception that if they were a domestic servant, they were allowed to be on the property, but not otherwise. And so we didn't have to dig back very far. We didn't go back generations. We only included those that went back by one property sale. So that means that the house might have passed hands and had that language as late as that language was legally possible in the 1970s. So we have that to say our communities do not look the way they do by accident. We do not have the outcomes and opportunity gaps we do by accident. That was an intentional, legally authorized, government mandated sometimes way of having our society structured. Therefore, there weren't even necessarily instances where people were having to take an active role in enforcing some of these policies. It was the way that it was, and sometimes it was the way that it had to be legally. And so with that being the case, we say, well, there was some intentionality behind that for centuries. And so we have to anticipate that we will need to have intentionality behind how we dismantle these structures, whether we think we were complicit or not, because these structures pre-existed our time. And so for us to build that beloved community with liberty and justice for all, it means we have to understand what it is we are after and know that we are friends in this endeavor. We are neighbors in this endeavor, and the objective is not to shame ourselves or others with this history, but it is to highlight what it is we said in our founding documents and having that come to be with everyone pulling together to do that. So with that, a gesture like today coming is your movement in saying we are friends and we are holding hands together in this because we are coming to celebrate one another. And that's really, truly what it's all about. I see Amelia over there, who I had the pleasure of celebrating Race Amity with. And we talked about how this is ultimately the goal. The goal is for us to be unified in our efforts to correct what's in the past and to create a future together. So thank you for being here, and thank you, Wangari, for inviting me, and Mayor Cahill. Thank you.
Wow. It's been a wonderful ceremony so far, and I thank you because it wouldn't be a ceremony without you. Thank you for everything you do in your individual lives, in your families, for our community, and in the nation. Our community is shaped by the world around us, the things we struggle with, what available resources we have, and in turn, we shape the world right back. Justice and freedom for us here in Beverly is equal rights, opportunities, resources, and also how we feel as individuals. Reflecting on who's allowed to feel what is often dictated, as we've learned and continue to learn, by our history and society. We as the city of Beverly are continuing to respond to what is happening to us internally and to the external world and creating positive social change. It is events like today that give us hope, that give us a sign that we see on the Juneteenth flag, that supernova, that dream for a better tomorrow. And being in this wonderful building in the last 14 months have taught me one thing, and that Beverly is ready for social change, that we are opening ourselves to more awakening, to more understanding. And I know it can be overwhelming, not just for us, for leadership, for community, for us together. It is overwhelming for our national leaders as well. But if we are together and we take small steps together, I see that we are much more closer to making Juneteenth just as successful, just as powerful as every other holiday that we celebrate together. So we did something different this year, and we are learning how to connect with one another as Beverly, just where we are. We don't have to go too far to find love and unity and learn lessons right here. So this year, Mayor's Office is raising the Juneteenth flag in collaboration with our Beverly Human Rights Committee and our Beverly Public Schools. I encourage you to continue to wish each other a wonderful Juneteenth as the day proceeds. And that's not all. While I have the microphone, I'd like to invite you on Tuesday, June 18th, to join us at the Cabot. Kimberly Ballard is here, and Mr. Casey, thank you so much for all that you do for our community and for hosting this wonderful event. So I'll tell you a little bit because I'm really excited. So we'll be screening at the Cabot on June 18th at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, 7 p.m., the film Origin. If you haven't watched it, this is an American biographical drama film written and directed by Ava DuVernay. It is based on the life of Isabel Wilkerson, played by Anjanae Ellis Taylor, as she writes the book Caste, The Origins of Our Discontents. Over the course of the film, Wilkerson travels throughout Germany, India, and the United States to research the caste systems in each country's history. It's about 2 hours and a half, so eat dinner, come over. We're going to watch this amazing film. Then the next day, we're going to go to bed, enjoy June 19th. Then we're going to wake up the next day and come back for a community conversation on June 19th at 7 p.m. We'll unpack what we took home, we will learn and continue to engage, because I really believe that this unity and peace we are looking for will not fall from the sky. We will have to create it, and I believe in us. So happy Juneteenth. I'd like to welcome Janie David, our wonderful singer, artist, business owner, to lead us with the Black National Anthem. I went as far as printing some lyrics, so I'll pass some for those that want to join her. Yes, before we sing, I'll just pass it. We'll take a little breather, and then we'll start to transition in a little bit. Thank you. So we're going to start moving towards the flag post, and Janie will perform the anthem right near the flag, where we're going to then proceed to raise it.
All right, students, why don't you look this way? Look over here, and you're doing good.
Happy Juneteenth.
Okay.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling seas. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet with a steady beat, have not our weary feet come to the place for which our people sighed. Oh, we have come over a way that with tears has been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered. But out from the gloomy past, till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on our way, thou who hast by thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in our path, we pray. Oh, lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee, lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadow beneath thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, Beverly.